Welcome to the Billionaire Mindset, your 30-day journey to thinking like a billionaire. Now you can just watch this video, or if you want to sign up for the entire series for free and get the bonus PDF companion calendar, check the link in the description below. Today is day 1, and we're going to learn the morning routines of billionaires. Enjoy.
Every morning, I prepare myself for the day. So I listen to some form of either a spiritual song, or I read some kind of spiritual passage. I read something called The Bowl of Sake, which is written by a Sufi master, or I'll read a daily word. And then I meditate. And I do a gratitude journal. And whether I'm doing it electronically or whether I'm, writing in my little journal that I don't carry the journal around if I'm going to be on long extended vacations, because once I left the journal in a hotel, and God only knows what you could sell that for. So I don't do that. But I keep some form of spiritual practice where I remind myself daily of where I've.
Goal setting, as we know it in the modern Western world, is broken. See all those goals swirling around your head, the financial goals, the career goals, the lifestyle goals.
I've come from.
You just said that you sit around with your team and so forth, but you don't like meetings before 10 a.m.
No.
You like to get 8 hours of sleep, and you don't like PowerPoints. Explain all that. Why is that?
Okay, so I like to putter in the morning. I get up early. I go to bed early. I get up early. I like to putter in the mornings. I like to read the newspaper. I like to have coffee. I like to have breakfast with my kids before they go to school. So I have my kind of puttering time is very important to me. And so that's why I set my first meeting for 10 o'clock. I like to do my high IQ meetings before lunch. Like anything that's going to be really mentally challenging, that's a 10 o'clock meeting. And because by 5 p.m., I'm like, I can't think about that today. Let's try this again tomorrow at 10 a.m. And so then on sleep, I get 8 hours of sleep. I prioritize it, unless I'm traveling in different time zones. Sometimes it's impossible, but I am very focused on it. And for me, I need 8 hours of sleep. I think better. I have more energy. My mood is better. All these things. And think about it. As a senior executive, what do you really get paid to do? As a senior executive, you get paid to make a small number of high-quality decisions. Your job is not to make thousands of decisions every day. So let's say that I slept 6 hours a day, or let's go really crazy and say I slept 4 hours a day. So now I just got 4 so-called productive hours back. So if I was going to, have, say, 12 hours of productive time during any waking day, now all of a sudden I have 12 plus 4, I have 16 productive hours. So I have 33% more time to make decisions. So if I was going to make, 100 decisions, now I can make 133 decisions. By the way, if I did that arithmetic wrong, I'm sorry. And so you make 133 decisions. Is that really worth it if the quality of those decisions might be lower because you're tired or grouchy or any number of things? Now, it's different if it's a startup company. I mean, you're really, when Amazon was 100 people, it's a different story. But Amazon's not a startup company. And all of our senior executives operate the same way I do. They work in the future. They live in the future. None of the people who report to me should really be focused on the current quarter. I always tell people, sometimes I get, we'll have a good quarterly conference call or something, and Wall Street will like our quarterly results, and people will stop me and say, congratulations on your quarter, and I say, thank you. But what I'm really thinking is, that quarter was baked 3 years ago. Right now, I'm working on a quarter that's going to reveal itself in 2021 sometime. And that's what you need to be doing. You need to be out sort of, 2 or 3 years in advance. And and then why do I need to make 100 decisions today? If I make like 3 good decisions a day, that's enough.
At what time do you get up normally in the morning?
For me, it's usually about 7.
7, okay.
But I go to bed late, so usually I go to bed around 1 a.m. or so.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
And you start the day with a real breakfast or just with a coffee or with a water?
You know, that also varies a lot. I think it's probably true that having a good breakfast is a good idea, but usually I don't have time for that. So sometimes it's made for me, but probably half the time I don't have any breakfast. I had to have like coffee or something like that.
And a Mars bar with it?
Mars bar, sure. And I'm trying to cut down on sweet stuff. So, but I think I probably should have like an omelet and a coffee or something like that. That seems like probably the right thing. And sometimes I do have that.
How long have you been meditating for, actually?
42 years.
And what got you started?
The Beatles. When the Beatles started meditating, and they drew attention to it, and it was a curiosity, and I thought I would try it, and then it's changed my life. It's the biggest influence in whatever success I've had in life.
So can you remember what it was like in the first few weeks or the first few months?
Yeah, I remember wrestling around with it. I remember that, you go into the mantra. I went into the mantra, then the thoughts would come back, and it would be that back and forth. And then as it got better and better, and I got deeper into it, the thoughts would become more valuable, more tantalizing. And it was almost, more of a temptation to think about those particular thoughts because I didn't want to lose those ideas. And then I knew that I had to push those away. And it was almost difficult. And then after a while, I remember then disappearing into it. And that was something. The first benefits were that ability to have the quietness, the tranquility, the ability to get energy from it rather than sleep. It would provide me more energy than sleeping. Those kinds of benefits. But then it went on to develop an ongoing equanimity, that centeredness, that ability to go above myself and my circumstances and to look down at them from a higher level with a clarity and an objectivity. And then it started to bring out my subconscious and my creativity, because subsequently I've studied neuroscience. I've been very interested in that. And I've learned that there's part of our brain in the neocortex, which is where imagination exists, which is where creativity exists. And it opened me to that. I experienced it. I didn't understand what was happening at the time, but it provided those things as time went on.
What is your morning routine like? What do you do when you first get up in the morning?
Believe it or not, I still, I read a physical paper every single morning.
Which one?
I read the Wall Street Journal every morning. I read the New York Times online. I still am very particular about having my tea. It's very English. I grew up in India. So having my tea, and I'm vegetarian, so I need to get my protein. So I always have an omelet in the morning with toast, tea, and read my paper. So I do that every morning.
What time do you wake up?
6:30 to 7, so that's when I do it.
Do you exercise in the morning?
No, later in the day, sometimes, if I get a chance, but always in the evening. I wish I could do it in the morning. I'm not a morning person, so I need my time with my paper and tea to wake up and kind of get going.
I want to know the very first thing you do. You get out of the bed, you go to the bathroom.
Oh, I don't, no, the first thing I do is look at my phone.
Oh, you look at the phone first?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
I do that too.
I look at Facebook.
Right.
To see what's going on in the world.
Right, right.
And I check my messages, I look at Messenger and WhatsApp.
And how many minutes would you say you spend?
It depends on what's going on in the world. On a good, calm day,
right.
It'll probably be no more than a few minutes.
Right.
It's actually a pretty sad situation, to be honest, because I have contacts, right? I can't see that well.
Right, me too.
And before I put my contacts in, I often go look to see what's going on Facebook too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very nearsighted, so I'm like, I was never a morning person. Max is definitely turning me into a morning person. Max is like a pterodactyl. It's like, I didn't know a human could make those noises.
Right. And then, do you take a shower, or you work out first?
The better strategy is to work out and then you shower. I think.
Not Barack Obama. He likes to shower
and then work out,
shave and work out, which I found to be very odd.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Write my goals down first thing in the day. I've been doing this for 30 years now. Writing down impossible goals to achieve. Things that like, oh my God, what would cause me to get up today early? What would cause me to want to make that extra phone call? What would it take? What would need to propel me or inspire me so much that I'm like, I'm willing to do all this hard stuff that maybe I haven't been doing and could be possibly keeping me from getting the life I deserve. In this case, the life you deserve. I still do this today. Wake up in the morning, write my goals down. First thing I do is write my goals down. These are big goals, unachievable goals. Second thing I do is write down my quote of the day. What am I living by today? Not somebody else's quote, well, it could be, but it's really my quote. What is the quote? What am I authoring in my life? Who do I want to be here? She's going to have to write her own goals down. She's going to have to come up with her own quotes. She's going to have to decide for herself what she wants to do, how she wants to live. Same thing for all of us. It's the beautiful thing about this planet. We get to decide and do whatever we want to do, or as little as we want to do. The problem with the little part is, if you're capable of doing more than you're doing and you're not, you're probably not going to feel good about yourself. I know I did. Hated myself. Hated myself when I knew I could achieve more than I was. I think this is why people watch sports. See the great pass, the great catch, the great block, the great tackle, the great breakout tackle, the great dunk, whatever the shot is, right? It's like, wow, man, that person did something that is full potential, and we're shocked by it. But in reality, it's probably because we know we all have that in us. I'll bet you got more in you than you're using right now. So try this, simple. Wake up early, just try it for a couple, 3 days, 3 or 4 or 5 days, see what it feels like. Try it for 1 day, that's all you got in you. And then 2, write your goals down. Unachievable goals. You want to be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire? Good, write it down. Want a helicopter, you want a plane? 5 or 10 goals that you want to achieve, or maybe more. And then tomorrow, when you wake up tomorrow, do it again. See which ones pop up tomorrow. Now, this is what I do, a little trick. I do in the morning, and I do before I go to sleep at night. First thing I do when I wake up, that's more important than your goals. First thing I do when I wake up, last thing I do before I go to sleep at night. And I'll throw one little trick in. That's how powerful it is. Anytime I'm disappointed, anytime I'm discouraged, anytime I'm down, anytime I lose, I write my goals down again. When I get up early, I feel better. I just feel better. It just feels good. It's good. I beat the sun up, man. I got to.
If you're a person who's fairly good with numbers and logic, did you know that you can make $70,000 a year or more as a data analyst? And you can do it with skills that you can learn in just a couple months. There are literally tens of thousands of these jobs hiring right now, and companies are fighting each other and paying big money to recruiting agencies to find qualified people. This is something I stumbled on kind of by accident.
The other morning, a branch fell and cut our internet. And we're with Bell. They actually came to fix it that same day. That same day!
With the same day, next day repair service, customer service just got better.
I'm gonna call you Spirit.
Only one movie has...
What's going on, guys? Today we're talking about the 16 rich person mentalities that most people don't have from the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And at the end of this video, you'll learn how did Steve Jobs legally avoid putting license plates on his silver Mercedes car despite of driving it constantly. The first idea from the book explains that wealth has to do more with the mindset rather than a specific strategy. Just like a carpenter, he can have the best tools, but he needs to be an awesome carpenter in order to use them correctly. We all have a money blueprint, a program that we have developed since our childhood. This blueprint leads to our thoughts about money, which leads to our feelings about money, and then to our actions, which gives us results. As explained in a previous video, we all have an impulsive need to be consistent to our map, to our blueprint, and this blueprint shows in our bank account. This is why people who have a big change in money tend to return to their starting point. This is the reason why when someone wins the lottery, soon returns to their original situation. Just like if a self-made millionaire loses his wealth, he will soon be back to his previous situation. It is important to have your mindset right when you're trying to build wealth, because your income will grow at the extent you do, and you will be only able to have as much money as you're comfortably able to handle. There are three main ways in which we develop our money blueprint. The first is verbal. Have you ever heard one of these? Money is the root of all evil. Rich people are so greedy. Or this one, I can't afford it. Things that were constantly repeated to us tend to find their way to our subconscious. I've known people that make a very good income but end up with no money at the end of the month. They find a way to get rid of it. If you dig a little deeper, you'll find that someone like their parents, for example, would constantly say, rich people are greedy. They just want all their money. You just need enough to be comfortable, and after that, you are just greedy. Now, if you deeply love your parents, you don't want to disappoint them. Even if you feel like you want to be rich, your emotions don't let that happen. Now, the opposite might happen. If you're not very fond of your parents, you might just say, screw it, I'm gonna do the opposite. Of course, it goes both ways. If your parents are wealthy, and instead of telling you that money is the root of all evil, and they tell you that money is freedom, money means options, money is responsibility to help others, you might have grown up with a different mentality. The second way we develop our money blueprint is through modeling. If not consciously changed, we tend to develop the same financial patterns as our parents, or the people who we are around the most. I got an awesome comment from one of you guys that said, and I quote, "My mom babysits 3 kids with millionaire parents, and one of them just turned 15. My mom asked him why he didn't spend the $20,000 he got for his 13th birthday on a new car. He replied, I invested it all into the stock market, while my parents would have told me to buy a car of some sort." This is a great example of modeling the behavior of people who are around us, especially when we are kids. The third way we develop our financial blueprint is through our own experiences with money, the rich, and wealth. For example, if you had a bad experience at one point in your life with a rich person, you might associate being rich in a negative way. Or if you try to invest at one point and you lost money. In the future, this becomes part of your blueprint and it doesn't allow you to use your full potential when building your wealth. And here's an interesting Steve Jobs fact. By 2006, Jobs had a bigger ownership in Disney than he did on Apple. Jobs became the largest shareholder of Disney after selling his animation company Pixar to the company, giving him a 7.4% stake in Disney. While in Apple, he only owned 0.5% of the company. Still worth a few billion. Now, in order to change our money blueprint, we have to be aware of the 17 core mentalities that rich people have that aid them to build their wealth. The first difference between a rich and a poor mentality is creating a life versus life happens to me. See, most people's strategy to build wealth is non-existent, or to win the lottery, inherit some money, or somehow win themselves a big amount of money. The problem with this, other than not being very realistic, is that they do not accept responsibility for their wealth. They just leave control to luck or other circumstances, or simply just ignore it. Again, giving up responsibility for their wealth. The rich know that they are the only ones responsible for their life and their finances. There are 3 main traits to spot when someone, even yourself, are not taking control over their financial life. Number 1, blame. Those with a poor person mentality will blame people or circumstances of why they are not financially well. I've seen people that say that they are not rich because they have kids. They are blaming a 7-year-old for their financial struggles. Number 2, justifying. When you hear people say, money is not important, or this doesn't work, they're just making excuses to why they don't have any money. As Iker says, anyone who says that money is not important doesn't have any. Number 3, complain. Have you ever noticed how people who complain a lot tend to have very bad luck? This is because, as Iker says, complaining is a negativity magnet. Number 2, rich play to win, poor play not to lose. There's a big difference. If you play any sports game on defense, what are the chances of you actually winning? Very slim to none. Most people play the financial game on defense. Most people's ultimate goal is to make enough money to pay their bills, or a little bit better, to be comfortable, not rich. The rich play on the offense. They play the game to win, and will not stop until they do. Which brings me to the next mindset. Number 3, the poor want to be rich. The rich are committed to being rich. If you ask anyone if they want to be rich, chances are they will tell you, of course, who wouldn't? But the same people also have different thoughts on being rich, some of them from their childhood. They might think that somehow there's something wrong with being rich, or it's not for them. They might think that the freedom and the options of being rich might be great, but it takes so much work. Or being rich and having control over your life sounds great, but rich people are just perceived as greedy and they don't want to be seen that way. The poor have mixed emotions about being rich. Even though they want to be rich, they're not fully committed to it. The rich, on the other hand, are certainly and unapologetically committed to being rich. They know what they want, and as long as it's moral, legal, and ethical, they will do anything in their power to achieve it. The poor won't, and they'll just play it safe. Question: do you have mixed emotions about being rich? Number 4. The rich think big, the poor think small. The law of income states that you will be paid in direct proportion to the value you deliver to the marketplace. Let's say that you're a fitness trainer, for example. How much harder will you have to teach your exercises if you teach a class of 15 people compared to a class of 300 people? Not very much. The exercises will be the same. Now, in which class do you think you'll make more money? The one in which you're helping more people. Now let's think even bigger. What if you create a whole program, hire a video crew, create a video fitness class that you can deliver to millions of people around the country? Now, you might be thinking, well, that's not realistic. But remember, rich people think big, poor people think small. Would you rather do great work playing it small or do great work playing it big? Number 5, rich people focus on opportunities, poor people focus on obstacles. See, if I ask you if the cup is half empty or half full, I'm not talking about positive thinking. I'm talking about the habitual way you see the world. Poor people make decisions based on fear. Their minds are constantly scanning for things that could go wrong. The rich take responsibility for their results. They expect to succeed, and their mindset is that they will make it work. If things go wrong, they will find another way to accomplish their goals. The rich know that you cannot know all the information beforehand, so they take action and correct along the way. They will not wait. They will see the opportunity and take it. Question: is there anything that you have been waiting to start but haven't? Number 6. The rich admire other rich and successful people. The poor resent the rich and successful. I've personally encountered people who say the rich are the worst. They just take advantage of poor people. They're just jerks. Think about it. If you perceive rich people to be bad people and you want to be good, you will not be rich. How can you be something you despise? Even though most of the rich people that I've ever met have been some of the nicest, most generous people I've ever seen, a lot of people still resent them as if they are the reason why they're poor. The problem is that resenting another person will not affect their success or their life at all. It will only affect the person who feels negative against others. Question: have you ever resented someone, and why? Number 7. The rich associate themselves with positive and successful people. The poor associate themselves with negative and unsuccessful people. Not too long ago, I went to a restaurant to catch up with a friend who I hadn't seen in a while. At the table next to us, there were two people talking. They were telling each other how terrible their week was, how much they disliked their jobs, how their families caused drama, and all the debts they needed to pay. It seemed like both of them were in a sort of competition on who had the worst life. See, the problem is that energy is contagious. If you ever been with a person who is always happy, with a positive mood, you sort of feel good too. Just like when you hang out with someone who is always complaining, you do not feel super great. This is what many call the law of environmental exposure. If you constantly hang out with people who aren't productive, play video games all day, and get drunk and party every weekend, what will you be more tempted to do? The same. But if you hang out with positive, productive, passionate, and successful people, what will you be more tempted to do? Exactly that. Controlling your environment and who enters it is very important to keep your focus towards your goals. And the way Steve Jobs managed to literally never have license plates was by getting a new car every 6 months. According to California law, a new car owner has 6 months to put license plates on a car. So Jobs would get a new car in the exact same model every 6 months. Make sure to check out the second part of this video, guys, which is packed with information from this awesome book. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified.
Working on the feet.